Hi, this is Prasoon Joshi and you are watching BollywoodHungama.com.
Coming to that, the entire rejection part and all these things. Say for example, now when a movie like PK it releases and it's passed by the censor board and it gets a superb response initially, but after a point of time, it's suddenly all these objections start filtering in, and then theaters are vandalized and all sorts of things happen. All sorts of allegations are just thrown at the makers. Some people are loving it, some people have obviously liked it because of the fact that it has done the business that it has. In that situation, what does a filmmaker do? That a film that has approved by censor board and maximum people are liking it, but somehow it just suits some people to just raise objections to that, and then they're taking violence into hand.
So I think violence is all of us criticize violence. Right. It is not the prerogative. It is. I think that's not right. I think then we are not talking about a civilized society.
Right.
What is talking about? I always talk about intent. For me, more than even what my self-expression is, my intent is important. If my intent is to provoke, if my intent is to hurt, I should be penalized.
Okay. Yes. So in that regard, the High Court and the Supreme Court, they have
anything.
cleared
I think wherever, whichever way it is, I think eventually if the intent of that creative work or anything of that sort, in that sense, whether it's a song, whether it's a piece of, if it's a book or a film, if the intent is to hurt someone, intent is to compromise someone, if intent is not right, I think it is not right. So but if his intent is right, and in the process, there are some people who are feeling hurt and compromised, I think then it should be an open dialogue and should be told that this is not what one is trying to do.
Right.
One is trying to achieve this. In the process, if you felt it, it was not intended. I think that needs to be proved. In a democracy, the power of dialogue. You can arrive at a lot of things with power of dialogue. And we have to have a society which is tolerant enough to have a dialogue. And if we have a dialogue, I think you can arrive at, and you can, if your intent was pure to begin with, and मानिए मेरी बात, एक सच्चे creative आदमी का intent हमेशा अच्छा होता है. Creative लोग, not because I am a creative person, I am a writer, basically अच्छे इंसान होते हैं. वो किसी का नुकसान करने के लिए नहीं करते, क्रिएट नहीं करते. उनसे अगर आप कहेंगे कि ये सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन है आपका, लेकिन ये नुकसान कर रहा है, वो पीछे हट जाता है. नहीं जी सकता वो सच के साथ. वो किसी आदमी को नुकसान पहुंचाने की नीयत से और उस सच के साथ नहीं जी सकता. उसको अगर आप बोलें कि इसकी वजह से लोगों की जाने जा रही है, वो हट जाएगा पीछे. इसलिए इंटेंशनली क्रिएटिव पीपल आर वेरी वेरी innocent and pure, and they are trying to share something which they are feeling and they honestly feel about. अगर आप उस पर बिलीव करके चलेंगे, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि हर व्यक्ति ऐसा होता है. क्रिएटिव राइटर्स में भी मैं थोड़ा सा पार्शियल हो रहा हूँ, लेकिन मैं ये भी मानता हूँ कि क्रिएटिविटी गॉड्स गिफ्ट है. ये शैतानों को नहीं मिलती, ओके, अच्छे इंसानों को मिलती है. और जब आपको लगे कि ये व्यक्ति क्रिएटिव था, लेकिन क्रिएटिव होगा, शायद उससे वो गिफ्ट ले ली गई है अब, क्योंकि आपकी कलम बड़ी इनोसेंट सी चीज़ है. आपकी जो म्यूजिकल कॉर्ड्स हैं, बड़ी इनोसेंट सी चीज़ें हैं, ये नहीं जाती हैं शैतानी के साथ.
जैसे आपने सेंसर के बारे में आपने बताया, you spoke about PK as well. Now with the new censor board in place and all the members have been appointed, and all of them have been appointed by government. Now there is a debate going on that shouldn't the censor board be decided by a certain film body itself, because it's ultimately the filmmakers who will understand the best as to who's the right person maybe for the job, and maybe who can do a fair job.
I think government has unnecessarily been dragged into it right now. Politicization of this is happening too much. The fact, Faridoon, is that if you ask the people who you would ideally want in censor board, they would refuse. They will say, no, we don't want to do the job.
Right.
The problem is that it's very easy to corner the government and say, okay, आप best लोग लेके आइए फलाने. वो कौन है? कहाँ हैं वो लोग? This is quite debatable. That's what I'm saying. It should not be politicized. I think one very important thing should happen is that the consciousness and the filter of the industry should go higher and higher. Our industry is, barring aberrations, have very, very responsible people. They are not people who should be mistrusted, that they're in the garb of self-expression. Tell me, industry has people like Aamir Khan. I mean, you've spoken with him, and forget his creative endeavors and his creations. You sit with him and talk to him. Do you feel that this man is anywhere going to be irresponsible? He's not an irresponsible person. Now, in the society, you might go here and there, hither, thither, when you're creating. The creative process is like that. And that can be corrected. Self-censorship is the first thing. And we are, as an industry, capable of that self-censorship.
Absolutely.
After that comes the government's role. Why does government's role come? As I told you. Ideally, we should have a mature society. But till such time we are not there, we would require government to handle, unpleasant situations. Because for every law and order problem, you're going to run to the government. You're not going to say that we are going to handle it, don't worry. You're not going to say that, no?
No, absolutely.
If a film causes a problem, then you're going to go to the government and say, you handle this situation. The situation is going out of hand. So it is a very tricky situation. I think nobody has a very ready-made answer for. And the best thing would be to have an open dialogue about it, like we are having, and have more people about it after that, and see what is the best which we can do.
Okay, now what happens in South India, they treat cinema, music, it's something which is like very, very important in their lives. They treat it with a lot of respect. But the case is not the same in North India, and even in Hindi film. Vishal Bhardwaj has recently said that maybe the way it's preferred that naachne, gaane, waale, the way that's how the Bollywood associated with, in a way, is not fair. The people can be having political opinions as well. Filmmakers can have political opinions, and they can be like really valid and without being jingoistic and just raising the tempers unnecessarily. So as far as that thing is concerned, that do you feel that there should be more respect for cinema as an art form as well, which is somewhat missing in Hindi film industry and the patrons of Hindi film industry?
I don't think the respect for cinema is missing. I think we have...
the way it is in South India?
No, I don't think that. I don't think it's missing. I think if you talk to people from the government, not that they would respect everyone. And I agree. Everyone does not deserve that respect. But cinema, like any other field, has also produced great thinking people, people with great conscience, people who wanted to contribute to society. That's the reason I keep saying, even about songwriting, I keep saying that. Even since script came into picture, songs go even before that. Songs were used for storing information, to store culture. So much so, even medicine was stored through songs, because you couldn't write. So the only way to remember was to create songs around it. Songs later on expressed philosophy. Songs expressed religion. It became part of religious text. It also stored Jivan Darshan and philosophy of life.
Absolutely.
And if someone tries to reduce songs to gyrating and just dance and party and say this is the meaning of song and the words are immaterial, only a hook phrase is important, I feel that's a gross injustice to the tradition of songwriting.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And yes, if aren't people creating that kind of work? They are creating that kind of work. So do you think the government or anyone should respect those people? Why should they be respected? I don't think anybody is justified in asking that those people should be respected. They are getting their money and they're going home, and that's it. That's about it. But people who have always, when we talk about मेरे वतन के लोगों जरा आँख में भर लो पानी, तो क्या उसकी सरकार उसका सम्मान नहीं करती? जरूर करती.
Hi, this is Faridoon Shahryar. For the most interesting celebrity interviews, do subscribe to Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.